Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I wanted to cover AI and specifically what I'm seeing with regard to stocks that are claiming to be AI companies, really point to some companies that have real businesses around artificial intelligence and really show that, hey, these guys are look out, they're going to have a business in the future. It looks great and really promising. And then I wanted to point out that it just seems like every technology company, software company is now rebranding their products to be AI. And I can understand why. As soon as you say you're an AI company, your stock price really takes off. So you don't want to get left behind. So pretty much every company is putting AI out there. They're saying, hey, I'm a hardware company and I create technology that goes into AI. Well, that might be correct, but I don't know that it's a viable long-term business that's going to be sustainable. So I wanted just to point out maybe some imitation AI companies and some real AI companies that exist out there. Let me share a few examples with you. The first business that I wanted to highlight is Waymo. Waymo is a Alphabet company. It's part of Google, and they started to develop autonomous driving in 2009. They've poured billions into this, and they have operational several cities where you can get an autonomous vehicle to pick you up and drive you somewhere. They just started driving people in the West Los Angeles area. So that's one more metropolitan area that is going to prove that these cars are ready to take on many more passengers. This is a real business. I think this is just going to continue to grow and expand. The way that Alphabet has developed this technology is they didn't decide to manufacture a car. Instead, they have the technology that can convert a current car, in this case here, a Jaguar, and make it an autonomous vehicle. That was brilliant because now they could just partner with other car manufacturers and really grow around the world very rapidly and really keep control of the intellectual property, the real science behind their AI that makes autonomous driving possible. The Waymo Alphabet example of autonomous driving, that's a real business. And I think it's really going to take off. I think they're doing it in a way where they can just sell their platform or partner with other car manufacturers and really grow. So I think that Alphabet truly has an AI business. In addition to their Gemini business, they have this autonomous driving business already. Another business that is really doing well with AI is Nvidia, needless to say. They've just been booming. If you look at the Nvidia stock, it's done really well over the last year. It's up 241% in 1 year. Year to date, it's up 82%. Another business that's tagging along is Supermicro. Year to date, Supermicro is up 274%. And in 1 year, it's up 1,000%. And I think that both of these businesses are benefiting from the build out of AI, which is happening now. My only concern there is it going to last a long time? Is it going to be a 2 year build out? Is it going to be a 10-year build out? I don't know. But I would say that these prices are beginning to get carried away, in my opinion, especially super micro. Let me give you an example. If you look at Intel, Intel had a complete build out of people getting PCs in the late 90s, and people needed a PC. They didn't own one. So they went off and bought one. I personally bought my computer in my first one in the 90s. And it really created a real run up on the Intel stock to the point where it got to like $73 a share. And then it collapsed after it was realized that, yeah, the build out of PCs is massive, but the price for the stock got carried away. It got too high. And Intel has never recovered ever since the year 2000. It's never recovered its stock price up until this point. If you bought at the peak, you'd still be losing money. So it's very hard. A second example is Cisco. Around the same time frame of the late 90s, it was realized that the internet was going to have to be built out. Very similar to AI. We have to build out the internet and put all the routers and all the telecommunications gear that needs to be put in place. And all that equipment was installed. Now, Cisco stock just took off because people realized, hey, this is going to be one of the, I guess, pick and shovel companies of building out the internet. And the stock price got carried away. And Cisco as well, if you had bought at the peak, you still would be losing money 20 years later. And that's the thing that I worry about as I look at NVIDIA and I look at supercomputer. Supercomputer especially concerns me because, although I think it's great that they're in the right place at the right time, creating premium servers, premium equipment for the companies that need to build out AI. But boy, their stock price is really getting crazy. It's up 1,000% in 1 year. That's just really, really incredible. And Nvidia, I think, is overpriced as well. And I have a different video on my channel where I go through the analysis, but not to the magnitude of supercomputer. If we look at supercomputer fundamentals, the fundamentals for supermicrocomputer are really interesting. They're about a $60 billion market cap company. But if you look at in the last year, they're up about 1,000%. So they were about a $6 billion company not too long ago. So, if you own supermicrocomputer stock and you've owned it for a year, congratulations, you're doing great. Forward P isn't too bad at 38. And analysts are saying it's a buy rating with a target price of $819. So you can see that the price is ahead of analysts' price targets. And these price targets are not keeping up with the stock price. It's just really going up quickly. If we look at the financials, that's where I'm a little worried. You look at their revenue for a long time, they were showing, some growth from 2018 to 2019, small growth. 2020, the company actually lost revenue. 2021, small growth. Now they're beginning to grow, and I'm sure it's this AI build out that is occurring, which is really impressive. But their profitability isn't very good. You look at their net income, it's just okay. It's nothing to write home about. If you look at their free cash flows, that's what I use principally to value a company. In 2022, they had negative cash flow from operations, so they're burning cash. And then in 2023, they had $663 million of free cash flow. So when you look at that type of cash flow rate, I could support maybe a 10 to $20 billion valuation, maybe 30 if I'm stretching it. But getting up to 60 is really hard to do. Nvidia, I believe, is a little overpriced, but compared to this, Nvidia is a pretty good deal in my book. Nvidia is a very well-known company. They definitely have, a lot of momentum with their GPUs being highly desired. But this, super micro really worries me. I think it's going to really surprise investors over the long haul. Now, four more businesses on top of the businesses I've already covered that have real businesses today. First is Microsoft. I got to say that Microsoft's probably really leading in the AI area. They have already products that are coming out to help their software users use AI. Now, it may be a little more marketing than it is product at this point, but it's a real product and they are putting it in the hands of users now. So Microsoft's really shown leadership in the AI space. Amazon has, over the years acquired a lot of assets around AI. Alexa is in our homes. You have them with a lot of different technologies that are in our homes. And they have the hyperscaler business, which is going to benefit big from AI because as companies have to build out their AI, most of them are running on AWS. So they're going to have to increase their revenues for AWS. And those workloads are probably going to stay with Amazon. So they're going to benefit big from AI. Meta is somewhat of a small surprise, yet it's not a big surprise. They have Llama 2, which is an open source large language model that is going to be used by a lot of startups. So Meta can benefit in a couple ways. One, it could be used as a platform by startups, but two, if you think of all the users on Meta, they have a lot of data and they can really create very good large language models and really do something with AI. The last one that we haven't heard much of is Apple. But you think about Apple and how they develop products is it's rare that they're the first ones to market with a product. The iPhone, they took that market away from BlackBerry back in the day. They just came out with a better device. They think different and they really innovate so that they make the products or services better. So I think that iPhones are in the hands of hundreds of millions of people, maybe even over a billion people at this point, and you already have Siri in your hands. That's an AI application, and if Apple can put more behind that application, it could have a really big bump to its user community and its marketplace and really create more revenues for Apple in the form of the iPhone using AI applications. And they may even create large language models themselves. We'll see. But I would say that Apple is now putting a lot of resources into AI. And over the coming years, I expect that they're going to do well in AI. All right, to summarize the video on AI for me, I wanted to kind of conclude to remind you that I'm a value investor. I'm an investor that looks at typically a company's free cash flows, looks at a company's profitability. I really want to believe in a business and understand it well. And that really eliminates a lot of the startups in the AI space. Startups tend to really burn a lot of cash. They tend to be somewhat of a lottery ticket. If you're really good at picking them, boy, you can make lots of money. But as it is with most startups, you're going to lose a lot of money on startups. And that's not my game. I'm going to stay in my lane, which is I want to make lots of money, and I want to make lots of money on companies like Meta, my biggest position. That's done great. I made money on Broadcom, which was one of the companies really benefiting from AI. Both of those examples, those companies generate tremendous cash flows. They've shown a track record of growth and of really companies that I expect will be around for the next 20 years. And that is my investing recipe for success. I'm not going to get out of that recipe just to participate in the AI craze. I'm going to stick to my process and continue to invest in companies that I understand and fit my model. I hope you found the video interesting, and I really appreciate you watching.